Hey Canada! You might have heard about tariffs between the US and Canada, and if you're anything like most people, you probably have one big question. What does this really mean for me? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving deep into how US tariffs are affecting us right here in Canada, our jobs, prices, and what we can do about it. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the practical tips I've got for you at the end. Let's break it down. First, let's clear up what tariffs actually are. At their core, tariffs are taxes that governments impose on goods coming into their country from another nation. So when the US puts a tariff on Canadian goods, they're essentially making those products more expensive for US businesses and consumers to buy. The goal? To make American-made goods cheaper by raising the cost of foreign imports. For instance, in 2018, the US imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian steel and a 10% tariff on aluminum. Let's say a US manufacturer buys steel from Canada for $1,000. After the tariff, that steel would cost them $1,250. Naturally, this raises production costs for US companies that rely on Canadian steel, things like cars, construction equipment, and appliances. But here's where it gets real for us. Those tariffs don't just hurt US businesses, they have a ripple effect here in Canada too. Take the steel industry for example. The US is Canada's largest customer for steel, importing about $5 billion worth of steel annually. With a 25% tariff on that steel, the US is essentially making Canadian steel more expensive. Canadian steel manufacturers now face a reduction in demand. This can lead to cutbacks in production or layoffs, and that's already happening. If these factories can't sell their products to the US, they may need to find new markets or scale back operations. But it doesn't stop there. US car manufacturers like Ford or General Motors rely on Canadian steel to build their vehicles. The higher price of steel due to tariffs means they'll raise the price of American-made cars. So if you're thinking about buying a new car, you might notice that the prices are creeping up, even if the car is built right here in Canada. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Tariffs are also impacting agriculture. Canada exports a huge amount of products to the US, from dairy and maple syrup to fruits like apples. When tariffs hit, these products become more expensive in the US. And guess what? It's not just about export prices, it affects supply chains. If Canadian dairy farmers can't sell their products to the US at the same price, they might raise prices here at home to make up for the losses. Your grocery bill could go up too. So, how is Canada responding to the US tariffs on Canadian goods? Well, Canada's come back with a set of countermeasures designed to put economic pressure on the US to get those tariffs removed as quickly as possible. Starting February 4, 2025, Canada is imposing tariffs on $30 billion worth of US imports. This includes everything from orange juice and peanut butter, to wine, beer, and coffee, as well as things like appliances, footwear, motorcycles, and cosmetics. But that's not all. The Canadian government also plans to impose tariffs on an additional $125 billion worth of US goods. This will include cars, electric vehicles, steel, aluminum, aerospace products, beef, and even things like recreational vehicles and boats. A full list of these products will be available soon, and there will be a 21-day public comment period before those tariffs are officially rolled out. Canada is keeping all its options open, including non-tariff measures, if the US doesn't back down. The goal here is clear. Send a strong message to the US that these tariffs are having a real impact, and it's time to reverse them for the good of both nations. So, what does this mean for Canadians? Well, applying tariffs on US products will make them more expensive here in Canada. Prices will go up, which will likely reduce demand for those products from Canadian consumers. The idea is that this sends a clear signal to US businesses and the US government to end the tariffs, ultimately benefiting both Canadians and Americans. And to help soften the blow, the Canadian government is encouraging consumers to buy Canadian-made products instead. Not only does this help lower prices in the long run, but it also supports Canadian businesses by boosting domestic sales, especially if their exports are being affected by US tariffs. So, while the tariffs may lead to higher prices, they also open up opportunities for Canadians to support local businesses and help reduce reliance on US imports. It's a way to defend Canadian interests, jobs, and industries, while also sending a message that we're ready to stand up for our country. Now that we understand how these tariffs are making life more expensive, let's talk about what you can do to protect yourself. Don't worry, there are things you can do to save money and stay smart in the face of these trade wars. One of the easiest ways to fight back is to buy Canadian. Supporting local businesses helps boost the Canadian economy, and you avoid the higher costs of imported goods that are hit by tariffs. From fresh produce to Canadian-made electronics, your dollars can help keep prices lower. If you notice the price of US products climbing, look for alternatives. Local or other international brands not impacted by tariffs might be the solution. For example, if American cheese prices rise, try Canadian cheese or another country's imports. You'll get the same quality at a better price. Planning ahead is another smart move. If you're noticing certain goods are likely to go up in price because of tariffs, consider stocking up before they do. For example, non-perishable items, alcohol, or even imported snacks could see price hikes in the future. Consider shopping at farmers markets or local small businesses. These businesses might be able to avoid the price hikes caused by tariffs, and you'll be supporting the Canadian economy directly. So, there you have it. US tariffs on Canadian goods are creating a ripple effect that's raising prices on everything from steel and aluminum to whiskey and groceries. But remember, you don't have to be a passive bystander. By being smart with your purchases, supporting local businesses, and staying informed, you can protect yourself from the worst of the price hikes. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on more tips and tricks to save money. And hey, if you have any stories or tips on how tariffs have affected you, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay savvy, Canada. Know more. Be more.